Megan Nelson, and for my presentation for the Communications Unit, I will be discussing the topic of coloration. First, I want to begin with asking the question, what is communication? According to what we learned in class, true communication consists of the following. First, there is a sender, or an animal that generates a signal. Then there is the signal itself, or the message that affects the behavior of another animal known as the receiver. Finally, there is the receiver, the animal who is supposed to see and respond appropriately to the signal. The sender, signal, and receiver in bird communication is depicted in the diagram on the right. And according to a peer-reviewed article in the Annual Review of Cell and Developmental Biology, coloration can be used for a variety of purposes, including camouflage, mating, and thermoregulation. Not all of these purposes have a receiver, indicating that coloration is not an example of true communication. One animal that uses coloration to communicate is the cuttlefish. The cuttlefish is found off the coast of Europe, and it engages in disruptive coloration. This is when an animal changes color to blend in with the surroundings while trying to mimic the animals around them. One benefit of disruptive coloration is that it provides camouflage from predators. However, a cost is that it can be energetically expensive. A maladaptive environment would be a surrounding that has high contrast, or basically a surrounding where the animals around it are in very bright colors, and an adaptive environment is one that requires little energy expenditure or does not have high contrast, and therefore requires less energy. The costs and benefits of coloration can be illustrated on the figure to the right, taken from a publication in Philosophical Transactions of Royal Society B. Here, the cuttlefish is increasing the contrast on a white spot to better blend in with the animals and its surroundings. However, the cuttlefish is unable to match the high contrast the animals around it has, even though it's expending a good amount of energy to do so. Finally, here is a video of a cuttlefish practicing disruptive coloration. And the cuttlefish is in view right there. And we're getting a good side view of the cuttlefish here, so you can see what it looks like. Alright, so we'll cut the video due to time. And now we have the pre-existing trait hypothesis. So this is one way that coloration could have evolved. And the pre-existing trait hypothesis states that existing physiological traits convey information to other animals and can be interpreted as a signal. One example of this is hormones can naturally cause color changes in an animal, which can initiate mating and reproductive behaviors within the species. Hormones cause coloration in rhesus macaques, which are located in Asia. Naturally, the face and hindquarters of female rhesus macaques get redder when they are fertile, and this occurs when different hormones of estrogen, specifically levels of estrogen and progesterones, circulate throughout the body. This color change causes male rhesus macaques to look longer at females. The benefits of this is that the coloration is a visual signal to initiate mating and reproduction. However, a cost is that the face coloration is misleading. In fact, the changes in coloration of the hindquarters is a greater indicator of fertility than the changing in coloration of the face. So basically, the brighter the female's hindquarters, the more fertile it is, and the more ready it is to initiate mating behaviors. An adaptive environment for this form of coloration is an area with many male rhesus macaques and abundant food and territory, so that the female can choose a mate and then be able to, in a sense, have and raise her babies in a good environment. And a maladaptive environment is one where the red face could be spotted by a potential predator. These changes in coloration are seen in the photos on the right slide. On the top, there is a picture of a male and female rhesus macaque, and you can see that the female's face is very red when fertile compared to the male's. The bottom photo shows how the redness of a rhesus macaque can change as the hormones fluctuate. In addition to the pre-existing trait hypothesis that I discussed, there are also a couple other hypotheses for how coloration may have evolved. The first hypothesis states that coloration is adaptive because it protects animals from predators by enabling them to camouflage with their environment or survive. The second hypothesis states that coloration is adaptive because it ensures that healthy genes are passed on to the next generation. A peer-reviewed publication in the Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society B supports the evidence found in Hypothesis 1. After all, as shown with the cuttlefish, an animal can engage in coloration to participate in camouflage, which can protect it from predators. This publication also provides evidence for Hypothesis 2, because stronger, brighter colors in animals are positively linked to immune health. And therefore, when, animals with brighter colors interact with each other and potentially mate, these good immune health genes can be passed on to the next generation. Finally, the final example of coloration here occurs in chameleons. Chameleons are found in Africa, and they engage in coloration for a variety of reasons. This includes interacting with conspecifics, or members of the same species and of the same sex, choosing mates, thermoregulation, after all, they are ectothermic, and camouflage. One benefit of the coloration in chameleons is that this one feature about them, or their ability to change color, serves a variety of purposes, such as those mentioned above. Chameleons can also change into a variety of colors as well, as we will see in the video shortly. A cost is the interaction with surrounding light. The presence of UV light can hinder the effectiveness of chameleon color changes. An adaptive environment is when there's the presence of dark bark, and the maladaptive environment is when the color has a high reflectance. So basically, in an area that is highly reflective and has a lot of UV light, the job that the chameleon's color change is supposed to do, whether that be, camouflage or mate selection, will not be as effective. But in areas where it's against dark bark, you're able to see a higher contrast with the chameleon's color, and hence it will be more effective, or in an adaptive environment. And finally, here is a video of a chameleon changing color. You can see the chameleon inching along slowly. And look, now it's changed color from red to purple. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned a bit about coloration in animals and how this form of communication has evolved.